we were going to start it. I think most of us were here. We kind of know each other. So I'm the co-chair of the committee that runs these shows, and my mate's not here tonight, Wendy D'Amico. And we have the student channel tonight, which also we just pulled off. We weren't quite sure we'd pull it off, but thanks to these 3 great students, we were able to pull it off. And then it all came together when Allison Brody, as I understand, a great alum and a past vice chair on the YAA board, or I guess it was AYA at that time, is going to run the show. So we're going to have tonight's show. We'll look at the future shows. We've got 2 more before the holidays. Chelsea, you want to pop it up so at least if the others can see what we're gonna do. Thanks. So we encourage you to have tonight, which is going to be the student organizations that are going on at Yale, their challenges and opportunities. We do have a show on the 9th and the 16th, and then we're going to take a holiday break and pick it up January 6th. So we look forward to seeing everybody again next week after. So with that, a nice intimate session. We could just go around. So Allison, I'm going to give it to you, but we can kind of just do it as an intimate group.
Sure. My name's Allison Brody, class of 95. I was a history major in Saybrook, and my time at Yale was about the best thing that ever happened to me. And if we're talking about extracurriculars tonight, I'll say that I was really involved with the Yale Political Union. Rumpus Magazine were 2 of my favorite extracurriculars there, and I'm really excited to hear what the students have to say tonight.
That's great.
I'll jump in. Steve Bloom, economics major. And yes, Allison, you're absolutely right. What were the non-academic things that I did at Yale? The fencing team was the most important thing for me. I was a captain of the fencing team, spent a lot of time at Payne Whitney on the 7th floor. But bridge tided me through the late night. Bridge was my reward, playing bridge for studying. And it probably cost me, a half a grade point, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
One more thing I can't resist. So I have 2 kids who went to Yale. A cappella was the be all and end all for them. They were an out of the blue. That was transformative for them.
That's great. Alice, do you want to call on folks? I'm not sure how you see the screen or how we see the screen.
I'll go ahead. My name is Elaine Gustafson. I graduated from the School of Nursing in '86. I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner. That was my specialty area. When I went to the School of Nursing, I had 5 kids, so that was kind of my extracurricular. But in undergraduate, not many people know that I was captain of the women's rifle team at Boston College. So that's my claim to fame. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing tonight what folks have to say.
Hey everyone, I'm Kenneth. I'm one of the panelists for this evening. I am class of 23, so a current junior in Yale College. I'm a double major in history and computer science. And outside of classes, obviously I'm involved with STAY. This is my 3rd year with STAY. I joined pretty much my first semester on campus. 3rd year with STAY. I'm also president of First at Yale. So if anyone's heard of First Robotics, the First Robotics competition. So we are an alumni organization for that, and we do a lot of mentoring and teaching and volunteering. So we teach high school and middle school students robotics. Yeah, that's pretty much about me. Right. Also, I'm in Silliman College, which is the best college.
I'm a fellow at Silliman, so I agree.
I can go next. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Eleanor Schoenbrun, Yale College 25 in Benjamin Franklin College. I'm the 2nd panelist for this evening, and at Yale, I'm very excited to be involved in STAY and also be the feature baton twirler for the Yale Precision Marching Band in my Benjamin Franklin College Council, the Women's Network, YAFSA, and I'm a Yale Club of New York scholar. Thank you for having me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ray, as in Ray of Sunshine. My last name is Jin, which rhymes with the drink that you can only have when you're after 21. So if you want to remember my name, just remember Jin on a sunny day. I'm 25 from Brantford, which is actually the best college. The rest don't even come close. On campus, I'm involved with Yale Undergraduate Diversified Investments, which is a finance club. Also involved with EULA, which is the Undergraduate Legal Aid Association, STAY, YAFSA, and a number of other organizations and initiatives. And what I like to do for fun, I play the violin, I play golf. If any of you know Rory McIlroy, I played with him at the Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow Club. And after the Pro-Am, he went on to win that year's championship. So at least I can say I was a morsel of good luck for him.
Well, why don't we just kick in then, Allison? I think we've got a good crowd here, and then it's your show.
Sure. So Ray and Eleanor and Ken, you tell us a little bit about what you were interested in. You gave us the titles, but tell me, are you doing things that you did in high school, or are you discovering new things at Yale? And just tell us a little bit more about those extracurricular activities that you listed.
Sure, I can go ahead. So basically for the finance club at we learn basically all the financial concepts that form the fundamentals of technical analysis. Just I don't want to throw too much business jargon out there, but like DCF, LBO, comparable company, M&A analysis, etc. I think the combination of activities that I have really gives me a well-rounded experience at Yale because I have something that's a little bit more mathematically analysis, data-driven based in the finance club, but also I help immigrants apply for asylum within the United States as part of the Legal Aid Society. So that enables me to use my Spanish and Chinese speaking skills. I'm trilingual, so it's a great way to be able to use my language skills outside of the classroom and enable some, great human discussion and learn about the lives of immigrants, especially new immigrants within the United States. So, yeah.
So I have continued some of my passions from high school with student leadership through the Benjamin Franklin College Council. I serve as a first-year representative where I get to bring ideas to the table for my class, but also participate in college-wide events and help plan them. Additionally, I got to explore some new ideas with the alumni funds that I've been grateful to be a part of now as a STAY member, where I get to connect with alumni from across the world from all different backgrounds, which is fantastic, as well as being a Yale Alumni Fund student ambassador. Let's see. Oh, also with baton twirling, I have the opportunity to be a feature baton twirler. We haven't had one at Yale since 2015, and she was one of the first. So I'm very excited to be continuing on that tradition with such a fantastic group of people, and just being able to not only explore part of what I want to do at Yale through student leadership, but also to grow as a person while I'm here has been a fantastic thing. I've had a change in heart about my prospective major. So I do look forward to joining more pre-professional clubs along the economics and global affairs route, hopefully as soon as next semester, if not next fall. So, but I'm very grateful for every group I get to be a part of here.
So for me, it's been, I guess the club that I'm most involved with, that's the club I mentioned earlier, First at Yale. So that's essentially an alumni group. It's an alumni group of its own, which is for alumni of this international robotics competition, First Robotics. So there's, it's mostly like First Robotics competition, and there's another one called First Tech Challenge. But the basic premise is it's this high school and middle school robotics competition. A lot of Yale students have done it. I think it's about 7% of Yale students have done this in high school and middle school. So there are plenty of alums on campus, and we do a lot of teaching, volunteering, mentoring. So in that sense, sticking with this program, but now as a mentor and volunteer, so I've been involved with First for pretty much 7 or 8 years now. So it's nice to continue something that I was a part of in high school. On the other hand, I've also and this is part of a shift in mindset between high school and college. The difference about with extracurriculars in college, at least in my experience, has been in high school, it's all very organized in that you join a club and you're part of that club, and you will do activities related to that club. But in college, things tend to be a little bit less strictly like compartmentalized, and so there are plenty of events I go to for other organizations, like there's a like Chinese American Students Association will have events, and I'll go attend those, or I basically all kinds of events on campus. There's plenty of room to explore, and I think that this took me a little time to really change my mindset around that, because I was thinking, student activities, these are things that I have to join, and I have to, commit to them in a way that I would have done in high school, in that, like I am part of this club or I'm not part of this club. And just the nature of many clubs at Yale is that, you get involved however much you want, you go to different events, you talk to people, you try new things. It's a different style, and I think that that was one of the big discoveries I had coming into college.
So I'm curious for each of you, is there an anecdote that you can share with us about something that happened in one of your extracurricular activities that was a moment of real pride, a moment of real fun, or enlightenment, that can kind of tell us why you enjoy what you're doing with your time?
Yeah, sure. I can go ahead. So basically for UD, we run speaker events where we invite titans of industry um, to come and speak to members about just their experiences in the finance world. And I would say honestly that just the caliber and the breadth and depth of the speakers that Yale is able to invite is just really amazing to me. Like literally like in high school, like we would have textbooks, and now like our books, like I'm also taking directed studies, like for one of our books, it's the translator of that book actually came and did a lecture for us. We finished a reading that week, and then on Friday he did the lecture on Stoicism, Epicureanism, and it was just amazing to hear like the professor's perspectives live, and to be able to ask him questions and engage with him. And these people, and they're not elevated on a pedestal, they're just actually in reality very personable, approachable people, and I really love what they do. And for UD, for instance, we just had our annual conference recently, and we were able to invite a partner from Goldman, who actually was, before he entered finance, was a Olympic swimmer. I think he won gold medal one year, so that was pretty exciting. And another person, I think his name was Ralph Schlosstein. He was one of the founders of BlackRock, and he's also currently the CEO, I believe, of Evercore. So it's just like these titans of industry. And I think last week we had a talk from Greg Lemkow, who was a former head of investment banking at Goldman, so global head. I mean, he manages like $1 trillion worth of transactions every single year. So it's just being able to see, pick their brains and see how their minds were, how they were able to find a pathway to succeed in industry that they were in. And in general, not only, to get some career advice, but also just to be able to get some life advice in general, how to live a good life, how to take advantage of opportunities. And really, as college students, take advantage of the time here that we have at Yale, because, as we end off, December break or winter break is literally 3 weeks away. And I think we're only a first year once, so might as well make the most of it and end off the semester strong.
So for me, I have, I two really come to mind. So the first one is, I mean, this was actually something this past summer. So this was with First at Yale. We got the, it was like, I think it was like some random day in early July when I get an email from the deputy dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and he says, so Ned Lamont, right, the Connecticut governor, wants to do a summer STEM design challenge, where for high school and middle school students in Connecticut, um, and basically the governor's office wanted Yale like STEM student organizations to design these challenges and really just put together this summer STEM challenge, which was a really cool experience. We got to it was part of it was like the just the experience of working through a project over the summer that was kind of sprung up on us. Part of it was knowing that this was like very much a project that would have statewide impact, and and being able to work on a project of that level was very meaningful. So that's that was one project. The other thing I think that I'm going to mention is a bit more of my own personal growth or realization. This was actually first year with Stay, and this is not one specific one specific story, but going to each of the Stay teas with the alumni, that it was a again, it was a change in mindset, because before before coming to college, so like basically the summer before coming to Yale, everyone around me was saying, oh, Yale has these great connections, you should really spend time networking, right? Everyone talks about networking, and no one tells you exactly what that means, right? So I come in, and the more people say it, the more intimidating it sounds, right? Well, what's this networking thing? And I go to these Stay teas, and just being able to talk very casually with alumni over food, it was like, and part of it was a little bit anticlimactic with like, wait, with these Yale alumni who I thought, previously were so like inaccessible, and I guess very, very much like, who I thought were very different from me. Like suddenly I kind of understood, well, it's all this networking that people talk about is just talking to people, right? Getting to know them. So that was, kind of the big realization or one of the big realizations that I had, very, very luckily for me, like early on. And I think that was one of the things that I realized, like, talking to alumni, it's just part of, like getting to know different people, and listening to people's stories, sharing my story. It's all, that helped me, see it as, a much less intimidating, much less intimidating than I thought of it previously.
I also have to agree with Kenneth. It's just fantastic to be in such an intimate setting with alumni that have done fantastic things, that are doing so much to change our community and our world. And just sitting down and having a conversation with them is something that I know that I'm so humbled to be a part of as a member of the Yale community now. It shows me what I want to do as a proud alumna 10, 20, 50, 70 years from now, to make it better for the next generation of Yale Bulldogs. And it's just been amazing to sit down and pick people's brains, see what they did, what they would have changed, what they took advantage of while at this school. I think just being able to get ready for this next step in my life has been a fantastic thing. And along the way, I've really enjoyed learning about the person who that I am, and like who I want to become and what I want to do. Because at Yale, it took me a second to realize that I belong here. I'm with a group of phenomenal people doing fantastic things, and I want to be a part of that. Every step of the way, I want to be a part of something greater than myself. So being able to do that has been fantastic. And then my other little anecdote was, it hit me when I was at the game and there were crowds cheering, and there were what 50,000 people there, and it just hit me that this is Yale. This is what it means to be a part of something greater than yourself. Getting to do the sport that I love for the school that I love, and I'm learning to love the more that I'm here. Every day I'm finding something new that I love. I'm finding a new person that is just having a fantastic conversation with someone over dinner. It's being able to go to class and see your peers outside of class and become happy people that know what they want to do with their lives, and also not know what they want to do with their lives, which is okay too. I found out. It's just been, I feel like I'm a part of such a fantastic group of people, and that networking is going to come in so handy so quickly, and it's almost happening naturally, which I think is the best part of it. Is I'm already planning the reunion. Like, I'm ready to go and see these people again after I have a conversation. You always want to go back for more when it comes to how fantastic these people are.
So two of you talked about alumni. So I guess the next question is, do you think that undergraduate groups know how to access alumni? What could alumni be doing to be helpful to undergraduate groups other than writing checks for them?
I can go first. I think part of what it means to be an alumni is being successful and being able to have your own story to tell. And I think just being able to make those connections, even if it's on cross campus or if it's with the SIGs on cross campus, with those with the similar interest groups that you're able to be a part of. I think just making it known that there is somewhat of an open door policy is extremely helpful. And sometimes it may take initiating the conversation, because it does seem a little far off that maybe we can't reach out to them, not in a bad way, but just it's a very big step to take, and to send that message on LinkedIn or to send an email or to reach out to you. But I think alumni engagement would be fantastic in every organization and welcomed. I think one of the best ways to do it, though, is now that we are getting back on campus, fingers crossed, we will be able to stay open in this process. With just to continue doing what you're doing, and thank you so much for all that you do anyways. But I think just staying along those lines of, maybe it would be a good idea to reach out to students instead of hoping that we get to go to you. I think it's not that it's a two-way conversation, but it is one of those things where it's like, okay, I think just kind of destigmatizing how scary it is to reach out to an alumni, because you all do want to help. And I think part of that connection is going to involve doing that.
So I agree with Eleanor on, part of it is really getting over that initial, intimidation or, sort of factor of like, so how do we even begin with this, right? Like, these alumni, it just seems like so intimidating to even think of doing that. So I think this is, it doesn't affect all clubs in the same way. From the experience that I have, and from talking to people, it tends to be some of the younger organizations or the less established, smaller organizations on campus that have less access to alumni. So the thing about Yale is you have these really established organizations that have been around for 40 years or however long, that just when students come in, they're already coming into an established organization with essentially their own alumni organization. And I have friends who are part of performance groups that that have this kind of established organization, and they have I mean, of course, we shouldn't reduce, I guess, alumni engagement just to donations, but they do have like alumni donating to help support that organization. Definitely alumni who come back and listen to their concerts, and just in general help out with the organization. So they already have that kind of support network in place. And I think for a lot of smaller organizations, there's first of all, they don't have that structure in place already, where they have alumni they can reach out to, and I guess combined with the sort of initial, I guess I would say I don't want to say cluelessness, but in a sense, it is a kind of like not knowing where to start in terms of reaching out to alumni. I think both factors are kind of the challenges for maybe younger organizations. Um, as far as trying to I'm trying to think of like ways that that could be improved. um I mean, I think some kind of if we could just get the message across to more students that it's easier to reach out to alumni than they think, right? That it's not as intimidating, not nearly as intimidating as they think. I think that would be, you know, uh, you know, a great place to start. Maybe helping plant the seeds of potential ways they can engage with alumni. I mean, for one of the most popular things, I guess we've already mentioned a lot this evening, is speaker events, which I think if we can get across that alumni can help in different ways, speaker events being one way. I think just getting the message out to more student organizations, especially student organizations that are just starting out, so they can reach out to alumni. I think that would be a really good first step.
So I've got one more question before I open it up to everyone else. Something I hear from my young friends who attend various elite colleges is they have worked so hard to get into a school that has a less than 10% admission rate. They feel like they've jumped through the hoop already. And then they arrive on campus and they find they have to audition or rush every extracurricular activity group that they want to be a part of. And I'm just curious to hear from you all, how accessible do undergraduate groups that you're interested in feel to you? Is the selectivity of undergraduate groups viewed as a pro or a con by students? And what is the vibe on campus around the fact that there are more hoops to jump through to get into a group than there might have been back when you were in high school?
Yeah, sure. I can go ahead on that one. I would say for the pre-professional clubs, there's definitely higher barriers to entry. And I think it depends on, how you look at it, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think for the people who are really passionate about those areas, like if you're really passionate about finance, then I know like YSIG, Yale Student Investments Group, they have potential members do a stock pitch from beginning to end, and you have to basically do a lot of independent research in order to do it well. And I think some people come in already with having business experience, having done activities like DECA in high school. But I think that if you're truly passionate about it, then obviously I think you would be willing to spend the time to do your due diligence and conduct a good stock pitch. And if you think about it, you are practicing skills of professionalism that are highly valued in the workplace, once you graduate. So I think, it's like you're looking at two sides of a coin depending on which way you flip it. But I think also, you take, basically the best dancers, the best musicians, the best, whatever, and you put them within like a few square miles, and that's Yale, basically, and every other elite university. So definitely you have a lot of talented people close to each other. But I think that, rather than focusing on, so quote unquote competition, I think rather it's like, I think I personally feel very inspired by my peers who are, part of activities like YSIG or part of other non-pre-professional clubs, because like no matter what they do, they're passionate about it. And I think that energy is contagious, and it really, I feed off of it, and it, motivates me to be the best person I can be every single day. Um, but I would say for like, other clubs, not as much high barrier to entry. Like for instance, like YCC, like I'm currently trying to be the YCC senator from Brantford, because there's an open spot. And I literally just, started attending meetings. I hopefully get voted in on December 5th. and I can officially become senator. Currently working on the financial accessibility policy team. Helping provide transportation subsidies to students commuting in and out of campus. We're cultivating a partnership with Uber and Lyft in order to help with those subsidies, and really just trying to make students' lives easier while on campus, because I feel there's an inherent responsibility for Yale students to contribute and make a better community, a better Yale community, a better New Haven while we're here. Even if we, after we graduate, if we choose to stay on campus or stay around campus and continue to contribute to the community. And YAFSA, as a student ambassador for the Yale Alumni Fund, I think, Heather's on this call, and she knows, like, literally, like, I was onboarded, like, technically, I think, like, after, like, their application process ended. I was like, hey, this looks like a really cool opportunity. I did my research and I really want to join. Is there any way I can do so? And she's like, yeah. She sent me all this stuff. I filled out, the application questions just like any other applicant, and then I got onboarded. So I think it's just, I think Yale organizations in general really appreciate students who genuinely want to be part of their organization, instead of just adding it as another resume booster, because I feel like they can tell, whether you're being genuine or not. And I think being genuine and really, like, honest with what you're passionate about, what you're not, is very important, not only in your college career, but also later on in life, because, you don't want to be stuck doing something that you don't want to do for the rest of your life. So, that's why so many people pivot in careers to something that they would much rather enjoy doing. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ray. I've heard, like, from, I guess from both from, what I've observed and from talking to people, I've heard pretty much a whole spectrum of, how people opinions about, selectivity of clubs. And certainly, I mean, I think for the vast majority of clubs, there are no kind of like application or like, very high barriers to entry. So I think that's a good thing. It helps, certainly helps with people trying to explore, and that should be encouraged. I do understand, why, like where Ray was mentioning, you have groups that will have, certain standards that they put out, or like, applications, because they and experience this as someone leading a club, that sometimes it does get frustrating when you're not, when you have a wide range of commitment levels, right? You're not sure, because for better or for worse, Yale students are very involved, and some people may be involved with a whole multitude of clubs. So 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 one argument is really that having an application process of some sort really finds the most passionate people, and I think to some extent that's certainly true. I've also heard the completely I guess a little bit more cynical argument that Yale students are a little too obsessed with selectivity for the sake of selectivity, and I don't think that's the prevailing sentiment on campus. I don't think that that's wrong either. I mean that's not. I don't think that that's false either, is what I mean. I think it's Yale is certainly a place where where there is a level of competition. I don't think I can really deny that. I think I guess I don't really have any suggestions as to really how to remedy this, or to what extent this is this is really a problem. But I say I would say on the bright side, most clubs are very open for people to explore, and I think generally people have realized that or people are talking about selectivity more, right? People are thinking about, okay, maybe we are being too selective just for the sake of being selective. And I'm looking around, and there are plenty of groups where, if there is a selective version of that type of group, like if there's a really selective investment group, for instance, there are like 5 other groups that are more open to people of, varying skill levels and varying like desires for commitment to that area. So I think, there is, a spectrum of, you have new groups sprouting up to help remedy, any issue where where there's, too much, I guess, where there's a lot of demand for, activity, but there's too much selectivity. And, I think for the most part, there's, it's pretty easy to start, like in terms of procedure, to start a new organization. So I think that's one of the, I guess, silver linings in this entire situation.
Yeah, I agree with Ken, especially about the part where like if there's one opportunity, there's going to be 6 or 7 that follow it as well. And I think being at Yale, you're already a part of creme de la creme. It's the best kids. And so it's been fantastic to see, I have friends that are doing club volleyball, they're doing figure skating, they were music director for cabaret. And you have Yale Daily News and you have all these different things going on, but it's never to the point where you can't do something. And to add on kind of what Ray said of, I applied for a first year position for the BFCC, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't bring my friend along if they wanted to help with sweatshirt designs or planning the big employee staff holiday party that we're hosting. So there's a lot of opportunities that it has a rigorous process to it, but I think it does pay off in the end. And to also talk about accessibility from the financial route, I think Yale does a fantastic job of getting you the resources you need. My peers and I, if we do have a little bit of a barrier, Yale has been fantastic, as well as the staff behind the people that do it. They're fantastic at just being able to say, okay, this is what you need. Let's try and meet in the middle or find a way to get you here, because there are so many opportunities at Yale that you really can't miss out on anything, because there's something going on every day, every weekend. Every club is doing something, which is fantastic and has been a really, really great thing to see as well. Just because even in high school, there were applications for National Honor Society, there were applications for student council, for student government, for the Technology Student Association. So I think being where we are at Yale, you do get to see the leaders in the next generation of change makers in all of these different clubs, and to be a part of it. And to, if you didn't get to be a part of it, there is another opportunity to do it. It's definitely not a closed door situation where you can't pursue something. There's always an opportunity. Even with sports, you can do the club sports or the IMs, the intramurals with your college. So there's always something, which I think is everything at this point, because there's so much you can do at any level of involvement in it as well.
By the way, our current board member, Brad Gallia, just put something interesting in chat, relevant to what you've just been talking about.
Yeah, that looks like a great New York Times article right there. Jeffrey, you've been waiting patiently with your hand up. What question do you have?
Yeah, thank you, Allison. And great conversation. And I tell you, the hour just flies by, right? We're down like 10, 15 minutes. One thing I wanted to ask, when I was there, and I was at SOM 95, investment clubs, venture clubs, so forth. And in these days, as an alum, I get invited back to a lot of those type of groups and events and talk to these students. One of the key aspects that the university talks about today, President Salovey, in all of his conversations, is Yale being the most integrated across its schools, students, et cetera. And in particular, talking about the finance a couple of times, I just have to ask or wonder, are any of the undergraduate clubs doing some sort of integrated discussion quarterly or something with these other clubs going on in the other professional schools, in particular, say SOM on finance? Is there an opportunity there maybe to initiate something? Can the alumni help if there's an interest to do that? It just seems like a great opportunity for undergrads and professional schools and graduate students to get together.
No, definitely. I think that's something that our undergraduate organizations can do. At least in all the ones that I'm a part of, like I know YCC has a partnership with the graduate and professional, like a counterpart. But I think in some of like the other clubs, I don't think we really like engage much with the GMP divisions, which I think is something that we definitely should, like UD and SOM. Maybe taking alumni and doing mixers and stuff like that. But I do know that in general, there are so many opportunities for undergrads to get involved with grad students in a mentor-mentee relationship. For instance, Brantford has Brantford Graduate Affiliates who frequently do social events. And it's just a really nice study break and really nice time to network with people across the different graduate schools. I think one um, I think one person, she's been doing bioengineering at Yale for like 11 years or something. She got here for undergrad and just like never left. And another person, I think he's currently at the Yale Law School. Um, and he did undergrad at Yale, did like professional work for a couple of years. Now is coming back to get his law degree, and his career was just really fascinating. He's one of my mentors, and we talk frequently about career pathways, and in general, just managing the various the struggles of life. Being able to overcome personal challenges and seeing growth through overcoming those challenges is something that's very fulfilling. Um, but I think definitely there should be more formal connections between undergrad and grad student organizations.
Agreed. I think it's definitely not a situation where one hand isn't talking to the other. I think it's just more room for improvement as we can bring everyone to the table in this process. I think it's just trying to come up with the right people to talk to in order to get this up and rolling. Because as someone that does want to continue on, maybe at the School of Management or at Yale Law, or maybe both, we'll see. It just depends on who we're talking to at the time in order to get everyone to the table to talk about it. And I think part of that is also what I was saying earlier about kind of destigmatizing what that means in the process and saying these people are here as a resource for you. And I know that YCC, they put it out as like bring an undergraduate to work day for the graduate students, and things like that are really, really neat to see. I think we just need to have a little bit more of it, especially because you do see that connection between Yale students and alumni, but maybe I think there would be a lot of room for growth and involving the different steps that it takes to be a Yale College student. So it could be Yale College, Yale Med, and get those conversations started, because that can only benefit everyone in the process. Learning as a mentor, learning as a mentee, learning as a leader in that, it would be a fantastic thing to see.
Elaine, what's your question?
My question, it really has to follow on with what Jeff asked, but with regard to the New Haven community and maybe social service opportunities, are any of the students involved in those? And in being involved in them, I know that Ray mentioned the immigrant program, and I wondered if with those programs, if there's some collaboration with either public health or nursing, because I know that there are many programs that the professional schools work in with regard to the community.
Yeah, sure. I guess I could touch quickly on that. I think EULA is a member organization of Dwight Hall, and Dwight Hall's still going strong after all these years. And I recently applied for the outreach coordinator position. And it's just being able to not only be a part of the member organization, doing work that, serving the local community. I mean, personally, I'm a follower of servant leadership, leadership and not, being necessarily the boss, but rather just being a facilitator of ideas, enabling, the people under your leadership in order to allow them to thrive. And then that allows the organization to thrive. I really, I think for, in general, for the student body, I think there is a sense that leadership is not necessarily just getting the position, but also being able to exemplify the traits and values, some of which include, being able to work under pressure, being able to meet tight deadlines, but also being a role model to the people that you're serving. And I think I took that perspective over from high school, because in high school, I worked with students from underserved communities who didn't necessarily have access to educational resources, and I didn't want just for a zip code to determine their quality of life, the quality of the education that they get, and the work that I do is like I teach golf I teach life skills through golf with an organization called the First Tee, and I still do that work today. And I still, I do similar work around, the New Haven area as well, helping students, getting active while also like learning, like positive, life values and life skills through sport. Um, and I think that's just super important in terms of visualizing Yale not as a microcosm within the New Haven community, but rather deeply integrated within the city of New Haven. Like, I think that perspective is very important. Like, I'm also part of Yale Dems, Yale College Democrats, part of their legislative advocacy division. So what I do there is I help advocate for certain bills to be turned into state law within the Connecticut state legislature. And I recently published an op-ed in the Connecticut Mirror, which is a policy-focused newspaper regarding the teacher shortage in the state of Connecticut. And I think just being really focused on, and that's the issue that's, especially pertinent to New Haven as well. I mean, education is everywhere. It's an issue that's on everybody's minds. So I think being in tune with the local community, what issues that the local community would like to see addressed, and being, staying involved with local politics, I think is especially important in being a conscientious citizen and a contributing citizen to the local community. So yeah.
So my organization is also a Dwight Hall organization, and we work with local schools. I guess Elaine, your question was more about whether there's sort of in the effort to really in terms of like community service within New Haven, whether there's any partnership between Yale College and the professional schools. Was that your question?
Yeah, both. I mean, just being part of the community as well as any integration with the other programs. And obviously Dwight Hall is part of that.
Right. Dwight Hall, I mean, Dwight Hall has been very helpful with that. I think they're an incredible organization. They have a very strong network. They are, they're very supportive, and I think they have tons of resources. So in that sense, there's I think there is a lot of opportunity because of Dwight Hall. In terms of, and I guess that this would, touch on, this touches on like Jeffrey's question as well. I think there's, less engagement with the graduate and professional schools on this, actually. I don't think, to my knowledge at least, I don't think there's much collaboration between Yale College and like professional graduate schools on on community service or I think there's less of that. I think certainly that's a great opportunity where because I'm and the fact that I don't know much about it, like, to begin with, I think certainly says something about kind of the kind of lack of communication between Yale College students and professional school, graduate school. That I think graduate school students and professional students would be interested in doing more stuff within the city of New Haven, doing community service stuff. I think that conversation needs to get started, though, and I don't think there's enough of that.
I agree. Service is my middle name. Coming from a border city and founding 2 service projects and writing grants with Disney and Youth Service America, being able to be a part of my community here has been a fantastic opportunity. And I definitely think that there are opportunities available for people, but I do think it comes down to a better or room for improvement in how we can communicate those ideas. Because even if it's a last minute, hey, we're going to the food bank, we have an extra spot on the bus, who would like to take that? I think that would be a really great way to individualize what we can do. With what I've been able to get involved with this semester has been fantastic, just in getting to connect with people as well as do it through my organizations. But I think part of it is coming down to, again, like starting that conversation, like Ken was saying. I think being able to even bring in alumni from different parts of the professional programs and from Yale College, I think that would be a very good step in the next direction, along with maybe even connecting. I'm thinking back to when at State we were talking with the Yale Club of New Haven president and saying, hey, we've got local alums in the area. How can we get into these different schools, and who can we talk to in order to get this started? Because we've got lots and lots of connections. Now we just need to connect the connections in a sense, just so that this would be a fantastic thing that everyone could be a part of, and just broaden what we're able to do and broaden what we're able to change and be a part of. I think definitely that conversation needs to happen. If that helps, Ms. Gustafson. How do you pronounce your last name? I'm sorry.
It's Gustafson. I just wanted to add just a brief story. The School of Nursing for a number of years has had a service project in Nicaragua. And we did, for a number of years, have a cooperative program through St. Thomas More Chapel at Yale. And we brought probably, 8, 10 students with us each year, along with the nursing students. So we had undergrads and professional students, and it was an amazing experience. So I think there should be more of that, is kind of what's behind my question. I think it would be great.
No, I definitely agree. I think, like I didn't, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. And I'm sure there are, people who, I'm sure there are, similar programs in other, in other professional schools here, and, maybe in some of the graduate school departments, but I think undergraduates don't know about those. I think, I think there's, I would guess there's, a desire to collaborate on these things, but I don't think the conversation has really started on that. And I think, that's something I'll certainly think about and, definitely talk about.
Yeah, I also think it's not something that's happening just on our campus. I also serve on the Points of Light Youth Advisory Council, and I've got friends at Cornell and Georgetown and Michigan, and we're all kind of having that same problem where we really want to put our roots in our community, but we may not necessarily have the resources in order to do it, or maybe because it's my first semester here, I'm getting used to the winter and everything else. I need to get my coat because I'm from El Paso, Texas, with desert, so it's hot and then less hot throughout the year. I think part of it is knowing what is available and what we can improve upon is the greatest thing, because taking that positive light of we can do something in our community where college students may not necessarily have the time commitment to do it as another organization on top of what else they're also doing, but maybe it's like a one-time thing and a two-time thing. That way we can get the ball rolling and create like a little bit of a snowball effect in that process as well.
So I'm looking at the time and the hour has just struck. And I also see that Brad has a question. And so Bradford, if you want to jump in with maybe I'm sure it's going to be a penetrating and insightful question if it's the last one for the night, no pressure. If we could get one more quick question in, and then Jeff, you can tell us about what's coming up next on Thursday nights.
No, thank you for that, Allison. And yes, I'm going to be super brief because I know we pretty much are at the top of the hour. And, for our students tonight, I wore some Yale colors for everyone. Just wanted to say two things. First of all, you're all, making us very nostalgic for our respective times at Yale. So thank you, Eleanor, Ray, Kenneth, for telling us all about this. And to, kind of give a hat tip to something that each of you spoke about, which is, that desire to reach out to alumni, that desire to, engage with others in the alumni community. Let us know. As always, please reach out to us. Let us know how we can help. No one knows better what today's Yale students need than today's Yale students. So reach out to us. We always love to hear from you, and really excited to hear about what you're all doing.
All right, great. Well, I kind of echo those comments. I wish we could all adjourn to Yorkside Pizza now that we were not on Zoom, and we could get some good New Haven Pizza and continue this conversation, but sadly, it's not to be. So maybe we can hear a little bit about from Jeff what's coming up on the schedule.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks again. As I said in the beginning, you know, these sessions, it's not always about quantity. Quality is really the key factor. And if Zoom can ever be said to be intimate and cozy, I think we did it tonight. And but thanks for joining. And again, if Chelsea's here, maybe pop that up one last time. Come next Thursday. Come the Thursday after. We'll have a couple of week break after that. But the sessions are engaging, and we look forward to seeing you again next Thursday night. And the 9th and the 16th, we'll have our sessions, our Thursday night must-see LA. And this was great. It was a lot of fun, and it was great seeing all the students here. And there you go. So the 9th, we're going to see Changemaker, Building a Healthier Society. And on the 16th, Healing Images and Dreams. So these are going to be really interesting topics for everyone to participate in. And students are always welcome to join as well. So come back again on those Thursdays. Tell your friends, get more alumni, and we'll just have another great session. So thank you all, and thanks for a great night.